Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you are new, I am Maddie and today I want to bring you through every single book that I've read this year so far. So I've got a few books here with me today, but I've also read a fair few of them on my Kindle and some of them I also read as an audiobook. So I am very excited to talk about books for the next however long with you because I thought, like, we're 6 months into the year, why not bring you an extensive, updated read list for the year? Let's just dive straight into it. I'm so excited. I'm also going to be telling you my rating, my thoughts of the book, and whether or not I would recommend it to you. So let's get into it because we have got a fair few to get through today. I do have my Goodreads up next to me because I can't remember what I rated them all, so I've got that next to me. But 9 books I've given 5 stars, 10 books I've given 4 stars, and 2 books I've given 3 stars. So it's actually been not too bad of a reading year so far. I feel like I haven't been like wowed by any books. Like, I have, but not as many as I thought. But you know what? It is what it is. But let's just get straight into it. I'm very excited to talk about the books that I have read this year. The first book that I finished this year was Funny Story by Emily Henry. I really enjoyed this book. I love Emily Henry's writing. This book was like probably one of my favorites by her, either this one or Happy Place, but I think this one could top it. So basically this is about Daphne and Miles, and they both get broken up by their partners because their partners leave them for each other, if that makes sense. Did I word that right? I hope I did. But Daphne and Miles end up moving in together because she has nowhere to stay, and it's kind of like a bit of a fake dating trope, turns into romance. I really loved it. I really loved this book. I gave it 5 stars and I would highly recommend. It was such a fun time. I definitely can see myself rereading this one maybe next year. Big 5-star from me. The second book that I read this year is actually a reread of Magnolia Parks. I read this originally in 2023 for the first time, and then I finished the whole rest of the series in 2024. But I think a reread kind of says enough about a book and how I feel about it, but this is an absolute 5-star from me. If you've got no idea what Magnolia Parks is or what it's about or any of it, basically think like Gossip Girl meets London toxic high society 20-year-olds, and it's so toxic, but it's literally the best books I've ever read in my life, and just I don't think anything will ever compare to this series. Like, it just has such a special place in my heart. I literally love this series so much. So obvious 5-star from me, and I feel like rereading it a second time after reading the books that are already out, it just like everything kind of hits different because you already know what's coming, and things like you kind of click onto things earlier because you know what's gonna happen. Don't mistake this for a romance because it is not a romance. It's just I can't even explain what genre it is. Like, it's perfection. So it's not for everyone, but it's for me, okay? Alrighty, the next book that I read this year was Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I had no idea what I was going into when I read this book. I was like, I'm just gonna read it because for some reason I thought it was a romance. I don't know why I thought it was a romance, but I really enjoyed this book. What did I give it? I gave it 4 stars. Did I round up by any chance? Let's have a look. Okay, I gave it a 3.75. Probably looking back at it, I probably would round it up to a 4. I really enjoyed this. I was actually going between this book and the audiobook. Oh, I forgot to mention, I read Magnolia Parks as an audiobook this year. I didn't read the physical copies. The Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hates audiobooks are absolutely phenomenal. So if you're struggling to get through it, I highly recommend trying out the audiobooks because they are amazing. But Malibu Rising is basically about this really famous male singer named Mick Reaver, and basically he has children, and the children are very famous because of their dad, but it goes between 2 timelines. So the timeline that we get is, let's have a look. Okay, so we get a timeline from like the 1950s, and then we also get a timeline of like the current day, which is in 1983. So the current day timeline is like a timeline of this party that they're throwing. So it's the whole day and it's hour by hour. And then when it goes back in time, it's like years between 1956 to like 1970 or something like that. So it's basically just about a story of this really famous singer and his children, and kind of like how their family evolved when it goes back in time. But then the current timeline is the children, and everyone basically wants to go to this party, and it's them like talking about the party and getting ready for the party and all this stuff, and then things just like the most chaotic things happen. That's kind of the best way I can explain it, but it's really good. I really did enjoy it. I was really just hooked on like what was going to happen, and it was just a really interesting story. So yeah, I've rated it 3.75, but I did round it up to a 4 on Goodreads, and I think I would settle with a 4 because I think I would recommend this. I think this is a good book, so this was a good read. The next book that I read was the fourth, technically the fourth. I would say it's the fourth book in the ACOTAR series. Now, this is a novella. It is a very short book. I read the other 3 ACOTAR books in 2024. Actually, I think I read the first one in 2023, to be honest. And it just took me so long to like get back into the series, but if you haven't read ACOTAR, please read it. It was my first kind of introduction to fantasy. So good. Worth the hype. 100% worth the hype. I'm not even going to explain what this is about because it will kind of spoil what the whole series is, because like you just gotta read it, okay? I'm not going to explain it, but I gave this a 4-star. I think that this was quite important in the series, this book, because I feel like it kind of gives us a bit of context as to where we're going in the next book, and it kind of also closes off the last book as well. So I definitely think that this one is necessary, and I quite enjoyed it. It was just like a cozy little winter vibe, even though I read it in March, but yeah, I did enjoy this one. I just realized I missed a book. Okay, before I read A Court of Frost and Starlight, I read Daisy Hates, which is the second book in the Magnolia Parks universe. And this is the perspective of Daisy, Julian, and Christian. Christian and Daisy are like partners, boyfriend, girlfriend, if you will. And Julian and Daisy are brother and sister. So this is a 3-perspective book. They are in like the same kind of friendship group as Magnolia and BJ, who are in the first book. I love Daisy and I love Julian and I love Christian, but I also feel like reading it all a second time, I also feel like I love Magnolia and BJ more on the second time I've read it. So just, yeah, 5 stars. I don't even need to explain it. Like, it's just the best series, okay? I'm not even gonna elaborate. The next book that I read was The Crash by Freida McFadden. This is basically about a young girl. I think she's like early 20s. She's quite young. She is pregnant and she goes on a drive to go and see her brother, and basically she gets like caught in a blizzard driving to his house, and it's night, and she ends up in this couple's house. Like, they basically come and save her, and she like gets really weird vibes from them, and the book is basically about like her being stuck in this house in their basement, and she's like got a broken leg or broken foot, and she's like 30 something weeks pregnant. I read this as an audiobook. Well, I listened as an audiobook, whatever you say. And look, I love Freida McFadden. I just think the concepts are getting a bit, what's the word? Like, just a bit crazy. Like, I just feel like The Housemaid, The Housemaid's Secret. Was it The Housemaid's Secret? Yeah, The Housemaid's Secret are just like incredible thrillers. Like, I love them so much. And then I feel like there were some other really good ones by her, and now they're just kind of getting a bit like predictable. So I gave this a 3-star. Would I recommend it? If you didn't read it, I wouldn't say like you're missing out on anything. But if you wanted to read it, like, go for your life, but it just wasn't like life-changing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was fine. It was fine. The next book that we have is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I was so excited to read this book because everyone was talking about it on TikTok. They were talking about how emotional it is, how incredible it is. And honestly, I mean, okay, I rated it 4 stars and I did cry a few times. I went between the physical and the audiobook. The audiobook was quite good, I will say, but it just, it was a bit of a slow burn, like getting into the actual like, cause okay, here's the thing. There is a plot, which basically the book is about 2 sisters. It's based in World War II, it's based in France, and the Nazis take over France, and it's pretty much just about these 2 sisters. The older sister is literally like by the books. She'll do anything to please people. She doesn't want to get in trouble. She just wants to be a mum to her child and call it a day. The other sister, the younger sister, is the rebel. She will rebel. She wants to like get this war over and done with. She wants to like be involved in the war. She thinks that it's all corrupt, like everything. So basically it's about these 2 sisters that are polar opposites, but they're navigating their way through war, and there's a reason it's called The Nightingale. I won't say why, just in case that's a spoiler, but it was a really, really interesting story. I feel like it gave me a lot of perspective on like the war itself and what it was like in France. There is some trigger warnings. I would be cautious. Maybe just Google them if you're a bit worried. But yeah, it is based in World War II, so there are some triggers in there. But this was a really interesting book. It is based off like, I think multiple stories kind of compiled into one, because I believe Kristen Hanna was doing some research on World War II and she kind of just put together this story based off of like multiple things she was reading, I think. So it was really, really good. So I do recommend reading it. I think it was really good. If you're into historical fiction, definitely give it a go. If you've never read historical fiction, I think you would also like it. This was my first kind of historical fiction novel. Yeah, lots of emotion, very interesting plot, and yeah, it was great. So highly recommend. Next up, we have the final book. Well, actually, not the final book in the ACOTAR series, because we have recently found out that Sarah J. Maas has finished the draft, the first draft of the 6th, yes, the 6th ACOTAR book, which is so exciting. I am so glad that like I have read the books and I can actually be excited about the new release, because I feel like every time there's a new release in a series, like I haven't read them to be excited about it, you know? So I'm so extremely excited. This was a really, really, really good book. I listened to this as the audiobook as well, because she's hefty. Like, this is probably the longest book I've ever read, which was how many pages? About 750 pages. Like, she's thick. But this was such a good book. This one, and then A Court of Mist and Fury, which is the green one, my 2 favorite in the series. I really loved them both. This one had me like feeling things. Like, I was like, oh my god, I'm so invested in this. So I gave this one a 5 star, which is very exciting because I didn't think I would love it. And then as the story was progressing, I was like, yeah, this is everything that I've wanted. I'm not even gonna tell you what it's about because again, it will be a spoiler, but 5 stars, 5 stars. Alrighty, next up we have another little romance book, which is Say You Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I love Abby's books. I read the like Part of Your World series. I think that's what it's actually called. Is it called the Part of Your World series? I don't know. Anyways, I read that series last year and I loved it, especially Yours Truly. So when she was coming out with a new book, I was very excited. This is basically about, what are their names? Xavier and Samantha. Xavier is a vet. Samantha is about to go home to live with her family in a different state, I think in California. And I wouldn't even say they have like a meet cute, because it was an actually really bad, awkward, terrible meeting that they had at the very start. But he wants to give her a second chance, not give her a second chance. He wants her to give him a second chance. So they go on a date and then he finds out that she's about to actually move away, like literally the next day. And he's like, I can't live without you. So it's a bit of like long distance. It's a bit of navigating the relationship. There's some real like family struggles in here as well, which I think really kind of added to the plot. But I really enjoyed this book. I thought this was really, really good. I rated this, I think 4 stars. Did I round it up? Nope, I just gave it 4 stars. So yeah, not a 5 star, but I did really enjoy this book. If you love Abby, you love her writing, or you just want a nice romance that has like more personal, real elements to it, I definitely think that Abby is a great author and you should definitely check out her novels. But this one was really cute, so I do recommend. Okay, next up we've got my first ever dark romance. I read Lights Out by Navessa Allen. I am not even gonna, how do I even explain what this book is about? If you've read it, you know, but I listened to the audiobook and honestly could be one of the best audiobooks I've ever listened to. It was so good. I was laughing the whole time. It's basically about this girl, I can't even remember her name, but she's got like this, is fetish the right word? I don't know. She loves like masked men, and she's like watching TikToks of these masked men, and this guy has like this really unique mask, and she asks this guy she used to sleep with like, hey, do you want to like meet up and like do you want to wear a mask? And he's like, no, sorry, I've actually just found a girl, so like I'm good. And she's like, oh. So he shows his roommate, and his roommate is the one that wears the mask, and basically he stalks her, the guy with the mask. And yeah, it's like a stalker masked men romance. It's honestly really good. I really enjoyed it, and the new one has just come out actually. I think it's called Caught Up. So I'm really excited to read that. It's definitely on my TBR for the rest of the year. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars. Honestly, we'll probably round it up to a 4.5 because it was like really good. Also, spicy warning for that book. It is very spicy. Next up we have That's Not My Name by Megan Lally. And this is one of the best thrillers I've ever read. It goes between 2 perspectives, between a young 17-year-old girl and a young 17-year-old male. The 17-year-old girl basically wakes up on the side of the road and she's like, I don't know where I am, how I got here. She doesn't even know her name. And the other perspective is about this 17-year-old boy who his girlfriend went missing. And he's trying to find her because the whole town thinks that he had something to do with it. So it goes between the 2 perspectives. She doesn't know her name. She doesn't know anyone in her life. She's just so confused. And yeah, honestly, I've never sobbed my eyes out at a thriller before. I cried at this one. So that was an absolute 5-star from me. Seriously, incredible book. Like, incredible. I've recommended it to literally everyone I know that reads thrillers because it's just that good. Next we have Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home. This is the 3rd book in the Magnolia Parks universe. This book is like, it just hits different when you've read it before and then you read it again. It's just, there's something about it. There's just something about it. So yeah, again, I listened to the audiobook of this one. Such an incredible book. Like, just, again, no words, 5 stars. That's all I have to say. Just 5 stars. Alrighty. Keeping on topic of Jessa Hastings, we have The Conditions of Will. I was so excited to read this because after reading Magnolia Parks, I just fell in love with Jessa's writing and the way that she embeds metaphors into her stories. Like, her writing is just absolutely incredible to me. I feel like it just speaks to me on a different level. I don't know how she does it, but she's just a magician. This book could be my favorite book of 2025, and we're only halfway through, but honestly, it's up there. I could not put this down. Such a good book. Basically, it is about Georgia Carter, who is actually a side character in the Magnolia Parks books. She's only in The Long Way Home, but she's in it for like a chapter. You don't need to read Magnolia Parks to read this. This is a standalone book. But basically, it is about Georgia. She has to fly home to South Carolina because her dad dies. And her dad, her mum, her family are very conservative, very religious, this is the way that things are going to be and you need to follow them. So a lot of family drama in here. But Georgia is also like a human lie detector. She studies behavioral psychology, I think, and I love how that's embedded throughout the book. It is so interesting because she basically like reads people's faces and like she can tell if they're lying or not, which is just so interesting. And her brother, Oliver, brings his AA sponsor to South Carolina. She falls in love with her brother's AA sponsor, but her brother is also in love with his AA sponsor. So there's a bit of a romance in here. There's a bit of family dynamic, a lot of family dynamics actually. There's a lot. It's so good. It is such a good book. I absolutely love it. If you couldn't get into Magnolia Parks, I definitely recommend trying out The Conditions of Will because incredible. Like, you immediately need to read this, okay? Enough said. 5 stars. 5 stars. Next, we have The Hunger Games. I have never read The Hunger Games until 2025, and I understand the hype. I mean, I've seen the movies and I watched them when they came out, but I'd never experienced the books before. So this was just really exciting for me. I really enjoyed this. It felt like a really easy read because I could picture Katniss and Peter and all of the people involved and Gale, and I loved it. If you don't know what the Hunger Games is about, like, honestly, where you been? Because I feel like everyone knows Hunger Games, but I gave this 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed this. If you haven't read them, I definitely recommend. They are actually quite different to the movies. After I finished each book, I've been watching the movie, so highly recommend reading the Hunger Games. And if you have read them, I recommend rereading them because they're just so good. They're honestly so good. Next we have Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney. This was an audiobook that I listened to, and I listened to it really quickly. Like, I think it was like over a day or like 2 days. But basically it's about this lady who is in a coma, and there's just a lot of things going on. She can hear what everyone's saying. She can hear what they're everything. She can hear everything, but she's having these flashbacks of what actually happened. And honestly, I can't even explain what it's about because I can't exactly remember, but it was quite good. I was quite hooked. I didn't like love the ending because I got really confused by the ending. I don't understand. But basically the back of the book says, "My name is Amber Reynolds. There are 3 things you should know about me. I'm in a coma, my husband doesn't love me, and sometimes I lie." And yeah, it was good, but I'm just really confused. I gave it 4 stars. I'd probably give it 3.5 because I'm still confused, and it's been 3 months, but well, 2 months actually. But yeah, it was good. If you like thrillers, I think you would like it, but I was a bit confused. Next up, I read The Tenant by Frida McFadden. I think I listened to this as the audiobook too. Yeah, I did. I listened on Spotify. I just realized as I'm editing that I did not explain what The Tenant is about. Basically, it's about this guy and his fiance. They live in New York, I'm pretty sure. And he loses his job. And they're like, how are we going to pay for the mortgage? Like, how are we going to live here? So they decide to get a tenant. And basically the tenant is like doing these really weird sus things to the guy. But the girlfriend or fiance is like, I don't see what you're talking about. Like, just completely like does not see the problem with the tenant. This one just felt quite predictable to me. So that's why I gave it the rating that I did. Yeah, that's all I have to say. This was really predictable to me. Everyone was loving it when it came out. I personally didn't love it that much. It just felt very predictable and just a bit like far-fetched. Like, I was like, Frida, I love you, but like, what's doing? So yeah, I don't know. It was just, yeah. I don't know. It was fine. I gave it 3 stars, so do with that what you will. Will I think your life will change if you read it? No. Definitely not. Then we've got Daisy Hates the Great Undoing. This book undid me. The Great Undoing greatly undid me. Again, it was a reread, and did it stab me 30 more times than the first one? I mean, the first time I read it? Yeah, it did. This book, like, I actually can't even talk about it. Oh my god. No. Just reading the end of the book. I actually just can't put myself through it. 5 stars. 5 stars. Let's move on. Next, I read Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney again. I listened to this as the audiobook, and let me just tell you, the plot twist was crazy. This whole book concept is crazy. Basically, this man, he's an author. His wife goes missing at the very start of the book. Like, they're on the phone and she just goes missing. There's like a person laying on the road. She goes to help them and he never hears from her again. And anyway, he's got writer's block for a year because his wife went missing and he can't write and he can't sleep. And his publisher, I'm pretty sure it's his publisher, it basically says, I had like this thing in this really famous author's will, and I'm able to stay in his house on this island in Scotland. And basically he goes to this island and it's really weird, like really weird. And he thinks that he sees his ex-wife, or not ex-wife, his missing wife on this island. And it's just really weird vibes. I explained this so terribly, but basically the author gets like told by his publisher or whoever to go to this island. It's this tiny island in Scotland, and the vibes are just like really weird, like extremely weird. He goes there to hopefully write a book because this really famous author that has now died used to stay at this island. He had a house there. And he basically would go there and write. So that's what I'm going to say. There's really weird things that happen. He thinks he sees his wife. It's just like bizarre. Like he tries to leave the island. He's not allowed to. Like there's some spooky things going on. So I would recommend. It's a bit crazy, to be honest. So I do recommend reading it. I think it was quite good. It wasn't a 5-star. I gave it 4, but I was hooked. I was like, what is going on here? Like something is not right. I recommend. I think it was good. Next we have The Ledge by Christian White. This is my first Australian thriller that I've read, and honestly, incredible book. The audiobook was absolutely incredible. The guy that was narrating was amazing. Basically, it is about this guy, I can't even remember his name. Anyways, basically what happens is there is a guy, I can't even remember his name, the one that's like perspective it's from, I can't remember. Anyways, it goes between like then and now, but he gets a call to say that there's been remains found in his town that he grew up in, and one of his friends had gone missing. So he goes back to the old town that he lived in, and basically they're trying to figure out whose remains they are, and like it's all a bit like secretive and there's a lot going on. The plot twist, when I was listening to the audiobook, I literally had to rewind and go back because my jaw hit the floor and I was like, sorry? Like I literally had to rewind it and listen to it again because I thought I was going insane because of the plot twist. Like still thinking about it, I feel like I need to reread the book because it was just mind-blowing plot twist. Like I could bump it up to a 5-star. You know, I think I might. Yeah, we've just bumped it to a 5-star. It was incredible. Such a good book. Definitely recommend, and definitely recommend listening to the audiobook if you love an audiobook because it was really, really good. Okay, then we've got Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. Then I read another Australian thriller. Crazy. 2 back to back when I'd never read any before. This had been on my bookshelf for a really long time. Loved this. I listened to this as the audiobook and this was amazing. Basically, it's about these 3 sisters that are foster sisters. Like they met because they were all fostered by the same woman. And they get a call that the house they used to stay at, or they were raised at by this lady called Miss Fairchild, there is remains found under the house. So they go back to their hometown, they try and figure out what's going on, they get interviewed by the police, and it goes back in time from when the girls were young and they were being raised by this woman, and it was insane. When I was reading this, I was like, oh yeah, you know, kind of predictable, I feel like I'm guessing everything. And then I like had maybe 1 chapter left, it was like 2 minutes left, and I was getting ready on my floor, and the plot twist happened like right at the end, and I went, I did not. Like I was fully like, yeah, I've predicted it all. I've gotten it all right. And then this plot twist happened at the very end and I went, oh, never mind. So I think I gave this 4 stars, but this could honestly be a 4.5 for me because I loved the plot twist. I was really hooked. I wanted to know what was going on. There was lots of like secretive, kind of a bit more secretive information as well, like in The Ledge, but I really loved it. And the audiobook, 10 out of 10. Now we've reached our final book for the video. This is a 40-minute video. Oh my God. Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. It's only right to also continue the series of the Hunger Games. I do have the other 2 on there. My bookshelf looks so empty because all of the books are on my bed right now, but I do have Mockingjay and The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I'm really hoping that they bring out, what's it called? Sunrise on the Reaping in this cover because I need it. I need it all matching. This was, I think I gave this a 4-star, if I'm honest. Yeah, I did. I just felt like it was dragging a bit because like I feel like the last like this amount of the end of the book was like them in the arena. It just, but then it also felt really, actually it was probably half the book. Probably half the book was them in the arena, but it just felt really rushed and just like quick, they're in the arena, like let's just get it over and done with, and then bang, it's the end. I was like, whoa, what just happened? So I definitely think that it should have been longer or like more, because in the first one, like it's literally her in the arena the whole time pretty much. But this one was just like half the book and it just didn't feel long enough. So yeah, for that reason I gave it 4 stars, but I did really enjoy it. And yeah, it was good. It was very good. We have finally reached the end of this video. I've been filming for 40 minutes, so that's good. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want more book content, let me know because I love talking about books. I love sharing with you my thoughts on books and the books that I want to read and reading wrap-ups and reading vlogs. I love all of that kind of content, so if you want some of that, please let me know because I would love to do it. I think that is everything for this video. If you enjoyed, please let me know, and thank you so much for being here. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day or night wherever you are, and I will see you next time. Bye!